So a number of things happening, coming and going. We have Ajahn Kusalo visiting, and 31 pansa now? 32 pansa. Sadhu. Newly retired abbot, so getting used to his retirement, visiting different places, going Tudong, and Tan Jyoti Manto is going to be going off to Pacific Hermitage to spend the Vasa there, and then moving on to Birkin after that. And for myself, just got back from a short Tudong, walking up toward Humboldt Vihara, walking some of the way, getting short rides some of the way. And, to actually walk up there would take probably 2 weeks to walk the whole way, but having just 5 days of walking or relying on rides for part of the way, but still a good Tudong experience. And we were commenting to each other that after a few days, it really felt like we had been on the road for weeks. It was just a few days. So that was it's a good experience. It's always good to really adapt ourselves to different circumstances and actually kind of push ourselves in various ways. Even though living in the monastery, we do have a lot of precepts, and we live in a more simple and austere way than the average person in America anyway. But still it can get comfortable, and we can get into kind of a cruise control mode in the monastery where things are just kind of good enough, and we're not really so focused on developing any more qualities in our practice. We can kind of, okay, well, this is good enough, don't really need to kind of feel happy enough, feel good enough, don't really need to push in any way. And something like walking on Tudong, getting out into the elements and actually not knowing where one is going to eat each day, not knowing where one's going to sleep each day, just those basic things, getting back to the basic things about adaptability, how to live, just how to live, not having any extras, just how to stay warm at night, and how to deal with when we might not get enough food, or we might get less than we would normally eat if we were just to take off the buffet table in the monastery. And what does our mind do with that? And then I found just walking for hours on Highway 101, getting into that rhythm of walking, brought up these very good reflections, very good Dhamma reflections, and why are we actually practicing? Are we practicing just to get a comfortable situation for ourselves? Or are we practicing just to eke out a little corner for ourselves in the monastery so that we can just have the food we like and just get kind of the comfortable situation that we like, and the amount of time that we like to have for ourselves, and only engage in the activities that we prefer and that we like. And that's very, very tempting. When I was going to come here, when I was asked to come here to take up responsibilities as an abbot, I remember going and paying respects to Luang Por Liam. And I had in my mind, at that time I didn't want to come back to America. I was in Thailand, had been living in Thailand, I wanted to stay in Thailand. And there's a lot of really good opportunities for living comfortably as a monk in Thailand. And with the solitude, my own inclination is to prefer to not be around too many people too often and to be in solitude. And I was, definitely not looking forward to coming back, and went to pay respects to Luang Por Liam, and he just said, yeah, I know you would want to stay in Thailand and that would be your preference, but if you always just do what you want, your clinging will never decrease. He said, if you always just do what you want, your clinging will never decrease. So really we do need to question ourselves and learn how to adapt, learn how to ease the grip of our preferences. And it's a very interesting paradox, because actually having preferences having a lot of preferences causes so much suffering for us, and yet what it seems like is that when we get things according to our preferences, then there's a sense of contentment and happiness. But what's really happening is the preferences are tormenting us and making us miserable. And so really the true path to happiness being to ease the grip on our preferences and learn how to be very adaptable. And being on the road can teach us that. Just walking, just getting back to the basics of just eating what's given, sleeping where a place is provided for us, whatever food that may be, wherever that may be. Just getting back to those, adapting ourselves to just the basic requisites of life. So it's just something good to keep in mind. And when we do ease the grip on our preferences, then our life becomes much more enjoyable than if we were to just follow our preferences. We have much more of a sense of meaning and purpose, and we're going to start getting to the essence of the practice, and that's when it gets fun. That's when it gets interesting. So leave that for reflection this morning.